Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Triple P Show tonight. I am your host, Pat's Path Predictor, along with my co-hosts. First off, Ethan WX. Ethan, say hello to the stream.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
We're doing pretty good. And lastly, but certainly not least, David Schlotthauer. David, how are we doing?
I am doing really, really good. Hey everybody, it's David Schlotthauer here. Also part of the Pat's Path Predictor P Show series here on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
And yeah, I hope everybody's doing good. Before we do get started though, if Ethan WX has a channel, of course, if you're okay with him promoting his.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
going
to briefly promote mine. If you guys be sure to subscribe to Pat's Path Predictor as well as my YouTube channel, because yes, my winter forecast is going to be coming out to go with my next El Nino update.
All right, David, thank you very much. August. Yep, thank you very much. We have a lot to get into tonight, but I just want to preface by saying that I've been doing this for almost 5 years now, and Ethan, you know that if you're getting called out by someone big in the community, it's like you're getting somewhere, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our first real controversy, first time our first public scandal. So I think that's going to be, part of the focus of tonight's show is addressing that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into that in just a second, but I do want to preface that I do not, that while I am going to be talking about this, there was a tweet that was put out that I want to address. I do not condone any harassment or anything like that. I'm just giving my response. I want to talk about this, give my opinion on it, and see if we can come up with a little resolution that benefits everybody. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this started on Saturday afternoon when a pretty big person on Twitter who is in the weather community, well respected, I would say, James Pettus, decided to call me out on Twitter, on Twitter, and he decided to pin his tweet as well, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I wanted to kind of go over this, give my thoughts on this, and give my opinions as well as let Ethan and David share theirs as well. So this is the tweet in question. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to kind of give our opinions as we go. So here's the situation. I'll just also the preface, I do reply in this as well. I do put out my own tweets in response to this as well. I will be going over this and kind of give you my thoughts as this was happening. So this is what was going on. This was the tweet that was put out Saturday afternoon at 2:21 p.m. my time. Has about 14,000 views on Twitter. So this is what it says right here. It's that time of the year again where hyped winter outlooks are starting to appear. Keep in the back of your mind that it's only late July, not close to winter. While we have a broad idea of what this winter might look like in our El Nino setup, there are still a ton of deciding factors to figure out. Fair enough. These posts are also being more frequently posted as opposed to past years with the hype around our, quote, super El Nino that is expected to take place. Just keep scrolling, and that is the tweet right there. And what he posted with this is a little graphic right here. Today is July 25th, 129 days until winter. This is the graphic that he has right here. And in case you didn't notice, this is my video right here. This was my first preliminary winter weather forecast right here. I put this out about 3.5 weeks ago on the 4th of July. So happy Independence Day for those who got to see that on that day. But ultimately, what I found kind of interesting over here is if you're taking a look at this, my name was actually, and some of my description was actually blurred out in this graphic right here, which I'll admit I did take exception to because I'm like, okay, if you're going to call somebody, if you're going to call somebody out, this is what's going through my head at the time. Just to preface, okay, if you're going to call somebody out, just say their name and show the face behind it. And I wanted to also know what issues he had exactly with the video itself, which I will admit there was definitely some production issues with the video. Obviously, the music was a little bit louder than and all that stuff, which I got so many comments about. but I wanted to kind of get his perspective, and I wanted to know like what his issues in particular were with my video. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna respond to this, but I also want to invite him on the Triple P show to kind of have a little discussion, have a debate, and get his perspective, because that's what this show is all about. This is a show for the community. I want people, especially YouTubers and people who are well respected in our community, to come on, have some fun. I want to set up some debates as well. We've definitely had some great moments on that as well. So this is the tweet in question. Before we get to Ethan and David real quickly, I do want to get to my response real quickly, and this is what I quote tweeted right here. Next time you call someone out, do it directly and don't blur out my name. I was being a little confrontational right there, I will admit. And then this is what I said afterward. That said, I would like to extend an invite for you to come on the Triple P show for a discussion about this. Show times are next week on Wednesday and Friday nights at 8 p.m. EDT, 7 p.m. EDT. Wednesday night is right now. Let us know. So that's how I responded initially. Ethan, David, if you'd like, so far from what you've seen, like, what are your overall thoughts based on the tweet itself and my response?
So I will give my thoughts on the tweet itself.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Basically, he's saying, "Oh, this is clickbait. Just scroll past the video." Right?
You're right.
You know, okay, that's his opinion. He's entitled to it.
Right.
But I think what that says though is that he did not watch the video itself, because
exactly.
we're not. If he had actually watched the video, you're not trying to claim, oh, in 6 months we are going to have a historic blizzard or an extremely active winter on the East Coast. We're just saying the pattern is there for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the way I look at this is, like I said, if he was arguing in good faith and genuinely here to criticize your channel or the type of content you were posting, then I think he would have accepted an invite to the show, which
Sure.
As of right now, he is not.
We'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. The way I see this is honestly, like, if you're going to criticize, at least watch the video. All right. At least watch the video.
Yeah.
Which obviously he did not do. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now.
We don't know his
and
intentions behind it. Yeah, we don't know his intentions behind it. We don't know if he
I'm not going to jump to not going to jump to any assumptions or anything about why he made the tweet or why he's, what if any, if there's an agenda that's trying to be promoted here. But all I'm going to say is just watch the video if you're going to criticize it. All right, watch the video, see what we're actually talking about.
Yeah. All right.
That's really just my take on it right now. So if David wants to say something, go right ahead.
Go for it.
All right. This is my honest take about it. As a weather community, the point of this is competition. Okay? There's competition out there. This is about the time of the year. Some channels start uploading weather or winter forecasts as early as late July.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm going to wait until mid-July or mid-August. There's many reasons for that. But James, I see where you're going with this. I do understand, because it is a bit early, but we have a pretty good idea. And actually, El Niños are, well, when it comes to a winter pattern for the winter time across the United States, it's more to be set in stone than a La Nina pattern, because with an El Nino, you get a more subtropical, more extended, more zonal subtropical jet with not much waviness in the jet. So we have no, excuse me, allergies are bad today. So we get a pretty good idea that, okay, the deep south is going to be wet in general, and the northern plains are going to be warmer and drier, right? So I see where you're going with this, James. I understand. But at the end of the day, James, everyone has their own way of forecasting this upcoming winter.
Yeah.
Maybe Pat expects blizzards, Arctic outbreaks across northern Canada. I'm not going to criticize them. I'm going to say, okay, that's your opinion. My opinion is way different.
Sure.
Honestly, I'm going to give a little bit of a little spoiler alert here. I expect it to be more mild and drier in parts of the Great Lakes and the northern tier of the United States, and very, very mild across Canada because of that zonal jet that's going to be increasing over to the Pacific into the United States, especially given the fact, quote, super El Nino that is developing. I don't like using that word as much anymore just because super is not really in a term. Maybe it will be down the road, but definitely a very strong El Nino with sea surface temperatures greater than at least 3 Celsius, you know. But all I do ask you, James, is, you know, it's freedom of speech. I understand that, but if you cannot say anything nice at all, let's not put posts out there on X about other YouTubers. It really doesn't look good. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to create weather content that the audience is going to understand and soak in and learn, you know?
Yeah.
I used to be the first weather YouTuber out there on YouTube, I believe, back in
You were
2017.
one of
Then
them,
direct weather came around, and then other people, right? And I'll tell you, I have my own opinion. I'll, sometimes I'll criticize other people, but I keep it to myself because I know if I made a post like this, I would probably be called out.
Sure.
And people would look at me as, oh, David's criticizing other people and everything. It just doesn't look good, okay?
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to be offensive to you, James, but honestly, we all have our different ways of forecasting. We do. Maybe you expect otherwise, actually, a few other people out there on social media are downplaying this El Nino, like, oh, it's not going to be really that big of a deal in the United States.
I don't think that was his intent, but go ahead.
I know, but I'm sorry, my whole opinion here is a little bit different.
Sure, it's fine.
Oh, so in general, as a weather community, James, we're gonna forecast what we think the weather pattern is gonna do this winter. All right, and it gives you a general idea. Not everyone's gonna forecast the same thing, right? That's the whole, like Pat's gonna predict this. I'm gonna predict that. You're gonna predict something different.
Yeah.
Direct Weather is gonna predict something different. Weatherman Plus is gonna predict something different. Ryan Hall, y'all.
Yeah, Naz.
Velocity.
Yep.
Naz does weather. Think of us as weather models out there. There's 50 or 60 different weather channels out there. You're just one of those people out of the whole realm of weather enthusiasts out there and meteorologists that state your opinion.
Sure.
But sometimes your opinion on X can backfire, which pretty much it did tonight. I
wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, at least with that last statement. What I would okay. What I want to say though is calling people out publicly. If people think if they're going to call you out publicly, they're not going to watch. They're going to keep scrolling. What ends up happening a lot of the time too is the opposite ends up happening, and people end up getting driven to your channel a lot more. To that channel a lot more. I've seen it happen in numerous occasions, as well, even not just in the weather community, but also in other communities as well on YouTube. So calling people out on paper may seem like, okay, I'm raising awareness about this, but it ultimately can drive traffic to that channel that you're trying to say, hey, you shouldn't be watching this, because they're like, what's so bad about that? And they'll click on that. Kind of like reverse psychology, but that's just kind of my take on it. So that's kind of the tweet itself. I want to get to the replies and all that and get to that because there's some more context here that I do want to show for the audience. So after I posted my response right here, James was like, not trying to call you out specifically. There are hundreds of other videos from other channels. Yours just popped first. My question for you, James, is if that was the case and you saw other channels, why didn't you use this in your graphic? Why didn't you bring these other YouTubers in their videos in their graphic? If you had in my opinion, if you'd put maybe 2, 3, or 4 videos with mine included, like for example, you include one of direct weather because he's predicting Arctic blasts every other day and all that stuff, and include that. I wouldn't have too big of a problem with that because you're like, okay, this is more so calling it the community out in general, but my video is the only one that's in there. So the question I have is where are the other examples right here? You said there's hundreds of other videos. Where are these examples in this graphic right here? That's kind of the other thing I want to emphasize. So after all that happened, I kind of looked at that. I extended the invite to him for him to come on the show again. He asked discussion about what exactly, and then this is what I want to talk about right here. I wanted to know what your issues with these kinds of videos with these videos in general, and a general debate on the topic. You also put my video in your tweet, so I wanted to see what issues you had with my video too, because that's what I want to know. I want to know what exactly your issues are with my video in general. That's kind of why I wanted you to come on the show, so that way we could have a conversation about that. You talked about me publicly. I figured, hey, why not extend an invite and let's talk about this publicly and let's do it that way. So this is what his response was right here, and he was like, oh, I don't know, maybe because it's July, that's just common sense, nothing to debate or discuss. This is what I responded with right here, and I will admit I did make a bit of a mistake here, and this is what I said. You called me out on Twitter, why not do it in front of a live audience? I will admit, James, if you were watching this, that did probably come off as confrontational. That wasn't my intention. And part of the reason I wanted you to come on the show too was because Twitter conversations, like, they're only behind text and all of that. Like, you're not going to have the same conversation you're going to have, like, whether it's privately, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's a voice call or on a live stream. So that's why I wanted to have you to come on the show, because so that way we can have a conversation about this, and that way we can discuss further and kind of have a general back and forth about that, if you will. And James decided he would pass, which that's fine, I understand. And then this is what I responded with right here. If people are going to call others out on Twitter, you should do it face to face. Invite is still there if you change your mind. That's kind of my take on this whole thing. So now that I've given the replies, I did screw up there at that last reply to James. To James, if you saw that and you took it as me being confrontational, not my intention. I also worded it kind of wrong. What I wanted to say was, since you called me out on Twitter, why not do it face to face? Either way, it was still confrontational, not my intention. That's on me. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our co-hosts. Now that you've seen the replies, you've seen the context with this as well. Go ahead and give your perspectives on it.
I mean, I will say that my position on the whole thing is still very much the same, right? Like, if you are going to criticize someone publicly on Twitter or any other platform, all right, at least provide some sort of constructive criticism, or tell them, what could you be doing better in your video?
Yes.
Is it the production quality? Is it just the clickbait that you're trying to get on about? Is it the claims that are being made in the video? And what we see here is that James did not go into any of that.
Yeah.
It was kind of just a broad general call out, So at this point, all I'm going to say is, if you're going to call someone out in good faith, all right, do it to their face. And as always, we here on the Triple P Show, we are always open to criticism.
Yes.
In fact, we would love to have some of our critics on the show.
Exactly.
Anytime. All right.
We'd love to debate our detractors. We'd love to have mixed opinions on things. That's what this show is about.
But so that's what I'm going to say. All right. If you're going to make an argument in good faith, better defend it. All right. Give a reason. What is wrong with the video? Did you even watch the video? Which everything so far indicates that James did not watch the video.
I can't confirm or deny that.
Now we obviously can't confirm, but unfortunately I have a feeling that, considering that none of the claims that he made were against anything in the video in particular, I mean, like I said, if you're going to argue, if you're going to criticize us, all right, be specific. All right. You can be brutally honest if that's what you want to, but be specific. All right.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that. All right. If anyone else in the live stream is watching and, you want to come on the show and criticize Storms United or Pat's
or
Path
me.
Predictor,
Yeah.
anything that you've seen, all right, you're more than welcome to come on the show.
Yeah, we'd like to have your opinion. Yeah. But anyway, David, you go ahead.
I don't have anything else to say.
All right. All right, that's fine. I'll go ahead and draw this up and just say this then. James, James, I understand where you're coming from. I personally don't exactly appreciate the way it was approached. I felt like I took exception to some things that in that call out video, for example, being blurred out and all that stuff, as well as the fact that you didn't provide any other examples and it just kind of used mine, just slapped it on there. That's just coming from my perspective right there. That's just kind of my opinion. You can take with it as you will. I'm not here to stop you from that. That said, I was a little confrontational with you on Twitter. I didn't intend to come across that way. Some of it was in the heat of the moment. Some of it was bad wording. I would still be very open to have a discussion with you. I would still be very willing to talk to you. I'm actually in your Discord server, as a matter of fact. I'm willing to have a conversation with you as well. I'm willing to talk.
Pat.
Yeah, what's up?
So Pettus WX says, I literally gave a reason in the chat. So look at the chat there. He literally stated, sorry, we have a child in the background that's crying.
Oh, let me, where's that? And I don't know where
in the live chat on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm looking at it real quick. I'm trying to find it. Let's see. Oh, I literally gave a reason. Well, the thing is that oh, I don't know, maybe because it's July, this is common sense. It doesn't come when it comes to that, it doesn't come across, like, to me it came across as kind of the best way I could describe it is just like the way I look at it is just, it came across as not necessarily not. I'm trying to find the best way to put this. It felt like, you weren't willing to talk, and I want to extend that invite. It felt like you weren't willing to talk. It was not necessarily your way or no way, but it felt like I'm just putting this out as a generalization, and because also I wanted to know what your problems were with my video as well. So that's what I will say. Yeah, the thing is, yeah. So that's kind of my take on it, right here. That said, I'm willing to have a discussion with you. I'd be willing to have extend an invite for you. You're probably gonna decline. I don't know, but I did want to talk about this, and I wanted to get you on the stream, get you on the show, because, like I said, talks on people talking on Twitter is a bit different than talking on IRL, not really IRL, but on voice call and behind the scenes and all of that. So if you want to have that discussion, I'm willing to have it. I'm very open to hearing your criticism. I understand where you're coming from, but I felt the way that you did it was more so a generalization, and you didn't look at any specific points. So that's just kind of my opinion on this whole thing. I did while I don't exactly appreciate my video being up there and all that stuff. That's your opinion. That's fine. I would appreciate it if you didn't blur my stuff out and you put other videos there as an example. If you're going to call out the other people in the community, you said there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos out there. Give a few examples. Like, that's what I would say. That's just my thoughts. That's my opinions on it. That's where I'm probably going to leave it for right now, unless Ethan and David want to go into more.
I think that sums up pretty much everything with regard to this situation. As always, if you want to debate us or challenge any of our takes, then feel free to come on the show. All right, I'm going to extend that invite to anyone out there who, wants to, challenge some of our views and some of our decisions. But as David was saying earlier, right, every weather YouTuber, everyone's going to have a different opinion. All right, we all are generally looking at the same thing, right? The El Nino that's coming up this winter. Mm-hmm. But obviously, we're going to have different takes on that, and that's fine. Like I said, we try to be as transparent, as trustworthy as we can to the public. And ultimately, that is our goal. As Pat always says at the end of each video, the goal of the channel is to get more people engaged with weather.
Yeah.
So that has always been and will remain our goal for the foreseeable future. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And yeah, with that being said, I guess we can move on to some other things because we do have a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we have several things to talk about tonight. But I wanted to talk about this and I wanted to address this first because because this came up and I want to address it, and I know I made a couple mistakes on my end and I want to address those too. So with that being said, James, at least for this point, like if you're willing to talk to us, we can, but if not, we can just agree to disagree at this current point. So thank you very much for that. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on and talk about our weather segments for the video tonight. So for those of you who are tuning in for this whole thing, we're done with that. We're going to move on to another segment. So Ethan, let's go ahead and get into this. We had because the first segment I wanted to get into tonight was the pretty significant severe weather that we had going on across much of the Midwest. I know there was a lot of damage that was going on there too, so especially in the Chicago area. I know some of our friends got impacted pretty badly there. So Ethan, we want to segue into that?
Yeah, I'd say we get into that.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, definitely. I would pull up the SPC reports, Matt, because obviously 2 days ago in the Midwest, we had a lot of severe weather. The EF3 tornado that went through parts of Appleton and Menashe, Wisconsin.
Is there a way I can pull
and then also,
is there a way I can pull an arc?
Just go look at the ones from yesterday and then go the day before.
726. Okay. Oh, that's not cool. Nope, that's not it. Okay. Oh, it's 727. I got it. There we go. Here we go.
So there's our severe weather reports Midwest.
Yeah. So yeah, we had that.
Yeah, so quite a corridor there of severe weather, basically from northern Wisconsin straight down through Chicagoland, Indiana, all the way down into Kentucky. I don't know if anyone in the chat is from those regions, but we know some people who are from Illinois in particular who were pretty significantly impacted by that. And actually, the following day, which would have been yesterday, the severe weather shifted to the East Coast, and there's been a lot of flooding up in New York, parts of eastern Pennsylvania, and New Jersey as well. And Maryland and Virginia also experienced quite a bit of severe weather yesterday. I know I sent some. I don't know if you saw the footage of the tornadoes on the eastern shore of Maryland, but we had that too. Lots of wind damage.
When was that?
Flash flooding. Yeah, that would have been yesterday.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember.
So there's the reports there for yesterday. Look at that concentration right over kind of southeast Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and parts of Virginia.
Yeah.
That's just been a region that's really gotten slammed this year, especially around the Baltimore area. There have been some places that have just been getting hammered by storm after storm. It's honestly been one of the, I could say this, attest to this being from Maryland myself. It's been one of the most relentless severe weather seasons that we've had in this part of the country in the last couple of years. I've been pretty surprised by how intense it's been. And unfortunately I was not able to, I could have storm chased yesterday, but I decided not to. I'm kind of regretting that decision at this point after seeing what happened. But yeah, very active last 2 days. Honestly, both of these days significantly overperformed the SPC's expectations.
Do we have any do we have any photos or video or anything like that? I know I was sent some by some of my friends and all that stuff. So especially for the stuff on Monday. So that was it was a pretty crazy event. I remember I was I know from one of my friends, he said it was probably one of the worst events he had seen in the Chicago area. So yeah, Ethan, do we have anything that we could pull up?
There's a lot of footage from the Wisconsin tornadoes. If you want to look up some of that. And then I'm going to send you one right now.
It's on X
just go on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, just go on Twitter. It's fair use.
Yeah.
There's plenty of footage of the Appleton area tornadoes. And then I sent you one just now of the one that was on the eastern shore of Maryland.
Let's take a look. Let me take a look at that.
This video.
All right, I'll go ahead and pull this
the
up.
one that I just sent you in.
All right.
So this is from yesterday.
Yeah. So yeah, this is what
And
we
this
have-
is a
Go ahead.
so yeah, this is from yesterday around, I want to say it was like 5:30 p.m. or so. Eastern Shore of Maryland, just south of Easton. There were 2 tornadoes kind of in a very close area right in the town of Trappy, Maryland. Small town out there, but
Yeah.
this video that you're about to see basically shows one of those tornadoes tearing the roof off of a building.
Yep.
So pretty intense stuff. And also these storms were accompanied by a lot of wind damage, flooding, and some pretty large hail too.
Yeah. I'm looking at the footage right now. It's absolutely, yeah, that the roof's gone. I'm not sure if the under roof is there. Yeah, that looks like the plastic underneath that as well. Holy crap! Yeah, that
we actually drove past the
for Maryland.
That's
That's a relatively. Oh, geez. From that angle, hold on. From that angle, oh, geez, that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. If that's a grocery store or something, but the whole roof is just destroyed.
Yeah, not just that, but look at the limbs and look at where all this landed as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we had some other pretty crazy footage that came out of DC too of a microburst on the northwest side that apparently did quite a bit of damage up there. We had a lot of footage from the Baltimore area, flash flooding and 2-inch hail. So just a very, very active weather day across the Mid-Atlantic. But I definitely think, we should also discuss the Midwest. The severe weather that region experienced on Monday. If you could find any videos of that for the Monash and Appleton tornadoes, because those were quite significant, and there was a lot of damage.
I want to look for more photos than video or anything like that, because okay, that's 911. Oh yeah, they're posting this webcam footage right here. Holy crap! Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's from Appleton. I
believe this was an EF3 tornado.
Yeah.
They're still surveying the damage, so there's actually a potential it gets upgraded to EF4, but
yeah,
right now they've settled at EF3.
Yeah, I was sent this. This was the debris ball for that day over there. Let me see. Yeah, for that day. So that was definitely quite interesting. Look at that reflectivity. It's even showing on radar around Fox Crossing. That's debris right there, folks. Heading right for Appleton. Yeah, I was sent that as that was going on. Here's the velocity I got with that screenshot as well. Pretty tight couplet, Ethan. Right here.
Yeah, that is textbook right there.
Very textbook. Yeah.
Apparently, we had a radar loop. I forget exactly where it was on Monday, where we had kind of a Fujiwara effect going on between 2 TVSs. I believe it was in the Chicago area. I don't know if you can find that and pull that up, but
which one is it?
It was basically there was a radar loop I saw of some supercells in the Chicago area where you had kind of 2 couplets that kind of did like a Fujiwara effect rotating around each other.
Nope.
It was very, very interesting. I don't know if
I'm not finding anything right here. This is mainly hurricane stuff right
maybe
here.
Click on latest and see what that does. Go to latest. And then maybe you see it.
Oh, yep. I see some stuff right here. Mainly, oh, no, that's from, not, yeah.
Just search like Fujiwara effect.
Right here. All right, Fujiwara effect.
Yeah, because I know there was a pretty interesting radar loop of a tornado warned supercell that basically executed.
Oh, yep, I see it. It's right here.
Yeah, it was that video there. So yeah, some pretty crazy stuff. I don't know if have either of the people that we know from the Chicago area, said what their impacts were.
Yeah, I know one of them. They lost power until about 8:30 that night, and there were like chainsaws going throughout the day. Today, from at least from what RJ was telling me. So yeah, I know with David, he actually got a little bit of small hail with that. He showed me a photo of that. So. That was awesome to see. I'm going to slap a like on this. All right.
Yeah, some pretty crazy stuff. And the Midwest has really gotten slammed this severe weather season.
Yeah,
especially Illinois and Indiana. I believe Illinois has by far the highest number of tornadoes of any state this year.
Oh, by far, yeah. It definitely has. It's been getting hammered. It happened on March 15th, I believe, in Peoria. It happened on numerous other occasions. It happened I mean, there's April. I mean, you could say April 27th, 2026, although that wasn't as big of an event, at least in my area. But yeah, holy hell, dude. Yeah. So that's. Is there anything else we want to pull up real quick while we're at it?
In terms of severe weather, unless there's something that you really want to look at or that anyone in the chat wants to look at,
Yeah.
I think we've covered that, and we can move on to the kind of the elephant in the room, or really the super typhoon in the West Pacific.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Because that's certainly going to be an interesting thing to discuss. So we can pivot to that.
Yeah, that's fine. And with that, do you want to bring in some of our callers? Do we want to bring in some of our callers?
Yep.
All right.
Yep, we can get them on.
Okay. All right. Logan, Delta, you guys are in the call. I know so is LT and so is Trevor, but you guys are on the air for right now. We have this situation going on in the Western Pacific that we're going to be talking about tonight. What have you been seeing so far, and what are your thoughts?
So first thing I've been seeing, hello everybody, I am Logan of Tropical Surge.
Yep.
A few Iowa replacement cycles. This is the second one I am seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Current intensity is about 145 knots or 165 miles an hour for those who don't use the nautical mile system. With a pressure of about 915 millibars, you can see the Iowa replacement cycle taking full effect as the convection is starting to diminish and the eye is starting to degrade and wobble from the seams of things. And not to mention the fact, too, that Dvorak and other satellite estimates have been through the roof lately with this storm. Currently, we actually have a advanced Dvorak estimate of 155 knots. However, the raw adjusted and final T values are slowly coming down as expected with an Iowa replacement cycle. Deprint and demint, along with the AI Dvorak technique, are all within the 135 to 145 knot ballpark. We got 122 knots of microwave sounding and a satellite con of 128 knots. Something I'm looking at too is the M perk, which tells us about Iowa replacement cycles and onset.
Yeah.
The full model and the velocity based have a 78% chance of an Iowa replacement cycle onset, which we can confirm there's one already ongoing.
Right.
I am also looking at shear analysis too. There's about 14 knots of shear according to this, at about 124 degrees. So that might mess with the outer band thunderstorms that try to develop.
Wait, what's that shear value?
14 knots.
Okay, 14 knots. Thank you.
Yep, that's about 15, 16 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 16 on that one. That should be enough to limit the outer eyewall that is forming, per se, and basically weaken thunderstorms and not be strong enough to impact the tight core that Dolphin has because it is a tiny system. So it has more potential, as I say with everybody and everyone around here. Smaller systems with small eyes are your sneakiest, deadliest storms out there. Look at Super Typhoon Haiyan, for example. Look at Hurricane Milton. Hurricane Melissa was of the caliber as well. They were all tiny storms. Granted, Melissa had a little bit of a larger eye. And then you also have storms like Otis. That was pretty small. And look what happened with it. So my thought process with this is that with this thing being so small right now, if it gets any larger, it'll be able to sustain itself more because larger storms have an easier time avoiding Iowa replacement cycles than smaller storms. As I always put it, it basically becomes too unstable because it overconvects, and then it basically causes an imbalance that an Iowa replacement cycle tries to basically balance out before the storm basically would collapse inward on itself because it overconvected and did too much, per se. And now I turn over to Delta for his thoughts.
All right, Delta, go ahead.
Yeah, just hi everyone, it's Delta here. So yeah, just add on to that, another good example of small and unpredictable is actually an older one that I found. It's Tropical Cyclone Tracy. It was a Category 4 in 1974, and it only had a tropical storm force wind diameter of let me see it. Let me see where this is.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Only 30 miles from the center, but yeah, it was a Category 4 eyewall.
Yikes.
So imagine trying to forecast any kind of intensity forecast for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, from the looks of it, Dolphin right now is in either the starting stages or about midway through another eyewall replacement cycle. As we can see from the CDO has warmed, the eye has cleared. It's still symmetrical, so it's still probably in the early stages.
Yeah.
But just like last night with the environment that it is in, I wholly see we'll see it temporarily most likely drop out of category 5 intensity. But
Sure.
then I would expect a rapid, another period of intensification afterwards to bring it back to another category 5 peak.
All right, Delta, thank you very much for that. I'm going to check Dappia.
I got more to add.
Go for it. I'm going to pull up Dappia while you're doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to pull up a microwave sounder from Sims that I'm going to put in the chat. Also, LTW managed to get a good post. Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Beat me to it. A good loop for the radar on that.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you. LT, you're on the air. Say hello to everybody real quick.
Hello, but keep going. Sorry.
Yep. All right. I'm putting this in the chat for you. Based on what I'm seeing, I fully am convinced that this is in stage 2 of the eyewall replacement cycle. And you can even see the effects of the last eyewall replacement cycle too. On the latest frames of that loop, you can see outer eyewall starting to really move around and wrap around this storm again, with the convection still increasing in the inner eyewall as it tries to prepare itself for that outer eyewall.
Yeah.
And possibly, as most storms do, they typically convect more as an eyewall replacement cycles in the early stages, which doesn't really start to weaken until about stages 3 to 4, where your eyewall starts to your outer eyewall starts to choke your inner eyewall per se. And then your 5th stage is when you typically see your clouded eye that typically degrades, and you see those motes that are opening up into a larger eye. Then stage 6 is when you got a larger eye starting to contract inwards, and stage 7 it is complete. So this is very much still in the early stages. This is about stage 2 because we are past the fact that we've noticed it was prone. We noticed that convection is warming. The banding is wrapping around the center. It's still very far out away from the center per se, so that definitely enforces basically stage 2, and that loop should be in the chat if you want to show the audience that loop. That is actually a very good loop to show.
Let me see it real quickly. Oh, is this Delta? Is this what Delta sent? Or is this? Oh, this is your GIF right here. This is microwave, kind of. No, it's yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay, I'm looking at this. Yeah, definitely seeing that inner eye wall, and then we are starting to see that. Yeah, that inner eye wall is building, and the outer eye wall is starting to build up. Yep. You can really see the building of the core with this.
Precisely.
Yeah.
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 I'm looking at it on my computer screen too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's your inner eye wall, and then the outer eye wall is starting to build up a little bit as well. You can notice it pretty easily.
That's why I say stage 2. Yep. That's precisely why I say stage 2. Yep. And if everyone in the chat, if you look at the beginning of it again, at the beginning of that loop, when you notice the inner eye clearing, that is what an eyewall replacement cycle does to a storm. Yes. This storm actually completed its first eyewall replacement cycle in about 18 hours or so, which is faster than the lower end of the eyewall replacement cycle average, which is about 24 hours to 72 hours, with as soon as 12 hours and as late as 60 hours. So this was on the early end of an eyewall replacement cycle completing. It didn't resist, and basically it was a perfect example of an eyewall replacement cycle gone perfectly right.
Yeah, definitely. Completed that ERC, started strengthening up again, and now it's starting to get its act together with another one. So, yeah. Yeah, and I have this graphic pulled up for the audience right here. Would you like to describe, like, this is the eyewall replacement cycle stages right here, but could you describe to the audience, like, what exactly we should be looking for, and kind of describe briefly how things are going, at least point by point here?
Yeah, sure, I can. So, about this morning, or on the satellite microwave, when you notice that banding was starting to try and form, you start with convective banding that is on the outside of the storm, which is about your first stage where you have it developing and you still have a single eye wall. Currently, you see the concentric banding that is still developing and forming, which is transitioning into stage 2, which the CE means convective eye wall, or a concentric eye wall, excuse me. And you can see it on the microwave how it starts to develop, and then on that simulated image you can see at the end of the frames and concentric outer eye wall that basically forms around it. We are not quite in stage 3 yet because that outer eye wall hasn't contracted inward or tried to eliminate the inner eye, basically cause some subsidence and choke off the inflow to the inner eye, which is where your strongest winds are as your outer eye wall develops its winds and gets stronger. Basically, I like to think of it as like,
Yeah.
I had an example thought out. I'll come back to it a second. It's a good one.
You're good.
Anyways,
You're good. Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, in the later stages of an eye wall replacement cycle, that outer eye typically becomes a more favorable and stronger part of the storm, and then you see a large eye and single eye wall that starts to take place, and then later on you see an eye wall contraction. All right, I think I have my example. Basically, like taking out a certain food product and throwing it away for a better food product to replace it, and that's an example. That's not my original one. I'm just improvising here.
Yeah.
Or like saying like going down in weights to train more, so you have more definition, so you come back stronger.
All right.
For all the gym bros out there like me and Pat. Fun fact of the day.
Oh, nice. Yeah. All right. So, all right, Logan. Thank you very much for our little exposition right there. Yeah, a lot of it's kind of interesting because everybody talks about eyeball replacement cycle, but not a lot of people kind of understand what goes on during an ERC. They just know that the hurricane weakens and it grows in size, which is basically the general gist of it. The physics of it is, think of rapid intensification. Oh, seizure warning. The physics of that is...
You beat me.
Yeah. Think of it as the physics of when you're rapidly intensifying as a hurricane, it's like your figure skater bringing all your limbs in and you start spinning a lot faster. But for an eye wall replacement cycle, instead of bringing your limbs in, you're spreading them out. So you're going slower, but you also have a larger frame that you're rotating around with. That's the kind of the way with physics, how that's kind of described, and that's kind of the example I gave in my Hurricane Milton documentary and a few other instances on the show as well. So, yeah, that's what's going on, and it looks, according to satellite and a few other things based on microwave imagery, we might be undergoing another eye wall replacement cycle, starting for the outer eye wall to overtake the inner eye wall, and then from then on out, it's still under really good conditions to continue to intensify. Let's talk about those conditions, guys. We are looking at warm water, obviously. What is everything looking like from top to bottom?
Pat, could you pull up the latest hurricane models and let's see what they're saying?
We absolutely can. Yeah, pay no attention to the CanSips, guys. I was using this for another video. Let's go ahead and pull this up. What do you want to look at?
Just have a I guess just mean level surface.
Mean sea level pressure.
Surface.
Yeah. All right. We have the halves A pulled up right here, so we can start with that. We can start with the. Where do you want to?
I think maybe the halves A parent might have the shear.
All right. Let's look at that. Upper dynamics. Wind shear.
Yep.
Right here. Here we go.
Okay. So basically what we're seeing right now is that right now you would think in this image, oh, it's got a lot of shear over it. That is not bad shear. That is the storm producing its own environment. So right now, Dolphin is basically has its own environment right now that is getting affected by outside, but it's creating its own environment. So what you want to look for is see these wind directions. Are any of those impinging on the low? And right now, there is absolutely not. You actually have divergence aloft. See those barbs that are going away from the low?
Yep.
That is helping it breathe, which is helping. It's just another one of those key and atmospherics necessary for very powerful upper echelon tropical cyclones, hurricanes, super typhoons. Can we go a little bit in the future?
Yep, let's go.
Please?
24 hours right here. Here's what we got.
Okay. Yep, it's still basically perfect.
Yeah, it's still in that divergent pattern you were talking about. Arguably even better of a divergent pattern this time than it was at this point. Now, a lot of that, some of this is probably outflow, obviously, but a lot of this is definitely looking pretty interesting. At least the way it's spread out with the divergence, definitely a lot broader and definitely a lot more expansive. Partly due to, I think, maybe the eyewall replacement cycle. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, still very, very favorable. You still have this sheer business to the north. What do you think's gonna happen with this right here, Delta?
Well, that shear is kind of attributed to our upper level, our trough to the north, that is currently causing a weakness in our ridge that is helping to pull it towards the northwest.
Yeah.
But pretty soon, that high is going to want to. Some models are hinting, especially I think the Euro is hinting at it, that trough is going to back away, and the high pressure to its north is going to rebuild, which is going to allow this system to go more west than north.
All right.
So that shear is far enough away from the system that it doesn't really have to worry about it.
Right.
Can you pull up 200 millibar winds?
Yes, we can. 200 millibar winds. Here you are.
And that even shows your divergence even better. Because hurricanes suck in from the surface and then they exhale at the top. So when you want to look at how well a storm is breathing, you look at the winds high up in the atmosphere. And 200 millibars is, I'm trying to wrap my head, it's like 30,000 feet. It's 200 millibars?
30,000. Wait, the 200 millibars is, I think, Ethan, we went to school for this. That's like, how high up is that generally on average? Isn't that like about 15,000 meters or something like that? Or is that?
Yeah, around like 13,000 to 15,000.
All right, perfect.
So 200 millibars, sorry to intervene here.
Go ahead.
200 millibars is about 38,000 feet.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, David.
All right, yeah, Delta.
So can I was gonna see if I could intervene and talk a little bit about Dolphin. If not, I could let
How about we let Delta finish his point about the 200 meter winds, and then we'll jump to you. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So when we're looking for rapid intensification or in the future, what a system could do, we look at the ocean. It's got the perfect ocean conditions you can ask for. IOHC, surface temperatures of 32 Celsius in spots, widespread. And then we have the atmosphere. And right now, I'm seeing no wind shear whatsoever. Divergence aloft. It's got moisture. It's got a nice moisture pocket. So, yes, eyewall replacement cycles can weaken it temporarily, but this is going to bounce back very quickly.
All right, thank you very much. We just got a $5 donation, by the way, from Phoenix is a fat little boy. This is what he says right here. Sorry I'm late to the party. Let me just say that James guy sounds like a real Arthur, if you know what I mean. Guy's all beef, no noodles. Here's the thing. I'm just going to agree to disagree with him. If he'd like to come on on the Triple P show and talk about it, that's on. He can definitely do that. We extend the invite earlier. We'll do it again. If not, that's up to him. Thank you very much for the $5 donation. I do appreciate it. Always be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are 2 subscribers away from 15,600. So let's go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We have 50 people in the audience, so that's wonderful. So thank you very much for the support. Any support to the Pat's Path Predictor channel and the Triple P show is greatly appreciated. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get back into this. David, you were waiting very patiently to talk about this. Your floor is yours, my friend.
Let me share my screen. Okay,
all right, well,
so
all right, that's fine. Let me just do something while you're sharing your screen. Let me go ahead and do something real quickly. Just letting know. Yeah. All right. So yeah, just doing that. Let me go ahead and move this over to the. Oh, let me go ahead. Oh, I did not mean to open. I did not mean to open After Effects, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and fix. Let's go ahead and fix that, and let's go ahead open Discord. Do this, and yeah. I know I've been streaming for a while. I've been doing streams for years on this. Yeah, I'm still figuring out the kinks to this. All right, David, what do we got?
So what we're looking at here, let me bring up IR Satellite. Really great product, and of course, we're looking at Devil's Eye Dolphin. Very classic Typhoon here with a pretty good CDO-like feature. The really clear eye. And I'll just tell you, the only thing I like about Typhoons is when they are out there in the middle of the ocean and when they have that whirlpool look to them. You know, you got that whirlpool look within the eye wall. Pretty cool stuff. But boy, this is one heck of a Typhoon by all means. I will look at the current intensity here in a little bit, but what I wanted to show you is the vertical wind shear, and we can actually look at deep layer shear. Vertical wind shear over this system is actually around 8 to 10 knots. That's what we're looking at here based on the CIMSS shear product. The lightest shear is, of course, east of there. So that's what this is pretty much showing right now. When we click on the shear values right now, we can see shear is at around 14.1 knots out of the east-southeasterly direction. So it is generally favorable. There is a little bit of vertical wind shear that we're looking at that might be helping to at least initiate these eyewall replacement cycles. And actually, let me look at the latest satellite here, and then we'll look closely at our hurricane models, zoom way in, because, yeah. So it does look like... Yeah, it looks like another eyewall replacement cycle, maybe in the early stages of occurring. It does look a little more ragged.
Yeah.
If we look at, but our maximum infrared eye temperature is actually doing quite well right now. So we're running at around 19.94 Celsius at the moment. But let's get into our hurricane models here. Don't ask me why the Atlantic showed up here. Okay, so
it's okay.
Let's
it's okay. It happened to me too.
Yeah. So let's go back in time. Let's look here. So when we go forward, again, due to that eyewall replacement cycle, you can even see a secondary wind maximum, right? Not immediately right within the eyewall. So it does look like we may have a secondary eyewall. That right there. So it does look like another eyewall replacement cycle is indeed beginning, and it looks like that will finish rather fast again. So the eye is going to end up being bigger on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
And once that completes, the Typhoon is prone to intensifying a little bit more. It's got another 72 hours left to intensify, and I think because of how big the eye is getting with repetitive eyewall replacement cycles, the eye is going to get so big that it's not going to be able to sustain itself in a way to where it can re-intensify on the other side. Hurricanes like to be very compact, and that's how they intensify. If we look at the H-Wharf model on Dolphin, we can see this model a little more aggressive in the first 24 hours, showing very intense winds and very low pressures. But you can see how much bigger this eye actually gets in about 4 to 5 days.
Right.
I think the H-Wharf is a little bit too a little bit on the low side. So I would probably rely more on the halves A. It seems to be doing a little bit better on that. So
Right.
even so your pressures are really low here still, it does not look like the winds will be quite as strong because that wind field is going to be a lot larger. Like compare this right now to this. Look how much bigger that wind field is going to be. And that's what makes all of the difference. When we look at our simulated IR satellite imagery, why is this? I guess the halves A is broken when it comes to satellite
Yeah,
imagery.
it can be. It can be.
Let's look at the moisture here really quickly. Let's see with what we got. It does not look like much dry air is in the way of this. No, it does not look like it at all. So now another thing I did want to talk about too is the steering with this. So earlier model runs were showing maybe a direct hit towards Japan. That seems a little less likely because first of all, our trough is a little weaker to the north, and secondly, Dolphin is moving a little bit slower, so it's not able to get captured by that trough. So what we end up seeing is this turn generally off towards the west more directly. The European model shows more of that. Let's go out here. Let's go to the Western Pacific. Let's go here. Boom, boom, boom. Not vertical wind shear, Vort. There we go. So when we look at that trough again, you can see two identical ridges on either side of that trough. And there's our system. But watch this. As we go forward, you can see that system takes a bend to the west because of this is the GFS, not the Euro. So the GFS shows that the system moves right over the Okinawa Islands in Japan, right in the middle of the Japan Islands there, but not on the mainland of Japan, if that makes sense.
Right.
It should miss, it looks like, towards the north of Taiwan, but can't ever assume that for sure. And it looks like beyond that, we'll have to watch for more activity that could surge up in the eastern or in the western Pacific. Looking at the Euro model, the 18Z forecast, because this goes plenty out far. And this is also showing something quite similar where the system actually heads west, not towards Japan like we had. If we go back and look at, let's look at the 12Z model about a couple of days ago, and we can see this run showed something. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. Bear with me here. Yeah, so this run showed more of a direct hit into Japan a few days ago. If we look at today's run, it's much further south, but much stronger, which is not a good thing because no matter what, this is going to hit the islands. It might miss to the south of Japan or it might hit Taiwan. No one is in the safe of this. It's going to hit someone. It's just a matter of exactly where that's going to hit. Of course, with plenty full of moisture and not much vertical wind shear like we just talked about, I mean, the shear is going to be very light. And with what Trevor was talking about, pay attention to the shear vectors.
Yes.
We're not getting shear like this little guy back in here. That's another system. Notice how the shear vectors are going out mainly in one direction. So that's more westerly shear. But over this system where we have Dolphin, the shear vectors are going outward. And actually, let me annotate that a little bit for them so they can kind of understand.
Yeah.
So right here, let's make this go in a circle. So the shear vectors are doing this. There's outflow like that. And that's what we look for, okay? That means there's a lot of divergence aloft. The shear is generally under 10 knots. We can't say it's 0 knots. Generally under 10 knots is what we're thinking here. And that is why there's very high ceiling on this system. Now, as we go look out toward, let's go to Zoom Earth. Let me go to my Zoom Earth app. Do I not have it on here? I do not. Oh my gosh. Why don't I have Zoom Earth on here? But either way, this is going to be a very strong Typhoon. It already is. It's a category 5 with 155 actually. Let me check that on the ADT estimates. Yep, actually, because of our raw T numbers, we're actually weaker. It
Yeah.
looks like it might be just below category 5 intensity, probably about 130 knots, so about 155 miles an hour because of the T numbers. And for those that are watching this live stream, how we read this is, yes, these are the latest T numbers, but these are the more updated versions. So you get your raw T numbers, which actually looks just at raw satellite data, makes that bold estimate, and then gets adjusted over algorithms. So the final T number then becomes what's up here usually with the CI index. But the CI index hasn't updated recently, but I would imagine that's going to come down due to the eyewall replacement cycle. Another compelling thing that I can say that there is an eyewall replacement cycle occurring is if we go to the CIMS Cyclones website. Sorry if you hear a baby crying in the background.
It's
I'm
okay.
so dang sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, you're oh, there you go.
So no, it's not that. Microwave. Where are we at? Microwave.
I think Logan has some of it.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yep.
That works.
I got it.
We got.
Yes, it's going to work. You guys are going to get to see this. So this is a microwave imagery showing on why I believe there's an eyewall replacement cycle. Satellite doesn't give us a easily big clue. One of the reasons could be the warming cloud tops. They're not as cold because convection's a little bit more displaced. But another thing that really popped out to me is watch the last few frames here before the GIF reanimates. You can see a concentric eye wall, a secondary eye wall already beginning to form around the primary eye wall, which means there is an eye wall replacement cycle. I would guarantee that when Joint Typhoon Warning Center updates their thing, it'll say that. Yep, look at right here. Yep, they even say it. So an AMSR2 89 gigahertz microwave imagery did reveal a strong inner eye wall with indications of an outer eye wall beginning to form. Once again, that's what I just stated.
Right.
They didn't have to type this up. I already knew that was already happening because of the AMSR2. The tool provided by CIMS currently analyzes there to be a 78% probability of an eye wall replacement cycle onset. The initial position is placed with high confidence based on that. So with that being said,
yeah.
I would probably assume, there's Zoom Earth right there. I would assume that this might have reached it might strengthen a little bit more, but if these eyewall replacement cycles keep on happening, I think where we're at right now at 165 miles an hour is probably the peak. We might see 170 out of this, but again, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but there is a certain point where hurricanes, typhoons, in this case typhoons, cannot strengthen appreciably after so many eyewall replacement cycles. The conservation of angular momentum gets spread out in a larger sprawling area around the eye to where a lot of the energy is distributed, and it's really hard for a hurricane or a typhoon in this case to really recover from that. If this was a pinhole eye, then it can re-intensify very quickly on the other side because a lot of that wind energy is really compact, but this is more sprawling. All right, that's all I have for you, Pat.
All right, David, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and switch over back to my stuff real quickly because we have a couple of people in the call that have been waiting very, very patiently over the last hour to be a part of the fun, and that is Trevor and LTW. Guys, one at a time, say hello to the audience.
Hello.
Hello, LT. Trevor?
Hello.
All right, guys. So, okay, I'm looking at, I'm looking behind the scenes right now. Is there stuff that you'd like to discuss?
I'll go first.
All right, LT.
Yeah. So, I got the intensity. The newest intensity is 140 knots or 160 miles an hour. 921 millibars.
That's
That
our
is
latest.
the latest intense. Yeah. Correct. Surge. Surge.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. I do want to say some stuff.
Go for it.
Like, Delta. I also want to mention. Go back to the Hafsa with the shear.
All
Map,
right. Let me do
please.
that. Let me see if I can just do this. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, Delta, you could follow up on me with this.
Mhm.
This is also called, the thing to the north is also called a tut. It's a system
Tropical upper
where it
tropospheric trough. Yes, that's the official name.
it usually shears storms due to the westward motion. Because it could be going against, it could either be going with, but this storm is in a unique case. If you look to the somewhat south east or east southeast, that's called a ULAC. So it's kind of making sure that the storm that the tut doesn't get down to hit the storm and shear it. And it's also using it as outflow. So I think it's in even better position than Bavi or Senlaku.
Yeah.
It's got great outflow.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting itself organized really quickly at that. Yeah. Yeah, go to the 200 millibar.
All right. Yep, I see what's going on behind the scenes. We're going back to that. Here you are.
Yeah. Delta, you want to comment on this temporarily?
Yeah, it's kind of just what I was going over. It's squarely underneath that upper level anticyclone, which is helping with the divergence, as we can tell with our barbs that are going away. And it's got a very clean northern exhaust. And since it's underneath that upper level anticyclone, that tut is actually helping it versus shearing it because it's assisting with the outflow of the system.
All right, thank you very much, Delta. LT, do you have do you have anything else to add?
Yeah.
All right.
Also, the storm is just phenomenal.
I'm going to show Daphne a seizure warning. To
actually doing seizure warning.
Yep, thank you.
The storm is doing perfect. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to. It has to do an EWRC for it to survive, because you may not know this, Logan. You could comment on this. A storm has to go under an EWRC, or at least try to, or else it'll just implode on itself. Right?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
And it did not one, but this is doing 2 EWRCs, or hour replacement cycles, really early. Like,
yeah.
This is like, I think, the earliest I've seen from a system that just formed like a day ago, mind you. Like, for example, Bavi, it did one, but it was like in the later half before reaching Guam. Sinlaku did one after, like, during its approach to Guam. This this has the unlimited time in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's supposed to hit Okinawa in China, this thing is gonna just keep RIing.
Yeah.
Unless it does get way too big.
Yeah,
then
or it
just
keeps undergoing the
can't.
eyeball replacement cycle after eyeball replacement cycle, like David was talking about a little bit earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wait, also I
Mm-hmm.
do want to mention. Can I share my screen?
Yes. Yeah. Let's go ahead and move it. Let's go ahead and get this on the first try this time. Let's do this, and here you go.
So I'm gonna annotate real quick. This seems like you're. Oh, let me do a different color. This seems like you're low, because it's spinning counterclockwise. This seems to be the trough, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, all of this is the tut. And this is your ULAC in here.
Yeah. All right.
Am I correct, guys?
Yeah. 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 Logan Delta, could you cross check that for us? It looks at least where it's at currently at the upper part of it, that seems to be somewhat accurate. But what's your thoughts?
I gotta take a look at that and do some deep analysis on that.
That's
the
fine.
better, for the time being, better person for that is Delta, but I'm gonna take a look and give some thoughts.
All right, Delta.
Okay.
All right, boss man, you're up.
LTW, sorry about interjecting here, but a good way to see where our tut is in our low levels is to look at our model data and look like 500 millibar. Just pull up on the tropical tidbits. Do the full West Pacific view.
Can you do that, Pat?
Yeah, are we doing satellite or?
No, tropical tidbits model data.
Oh, okay,
pull
yeah.
up like the Euro.
The Euro, let's pull that up. Give me 1 second to do that. All right, let's just scroll this. Do that. Euro. And we will... Okay, this is a little bit of a delay. WPAC. Let's go to 200 to 850 millibar here. Oh, that's not what I was looking for. Okay, there we go. All right.
There you go.
What are we looking at? Okay, this is 5 days out, first of all. Yeah. Oh, here we are.
Yep. So right now, your tut is, from the looks of it, it's right over Japan right now. See
yeah.
Yep,
I see the tut.
Right there. So if we go forward in time,
24 hours, that leaves Japan. Hold up. What is this doing right here?
So that's
like a trough.
Yeah.
Yep. But now we also have our high pressure building over Korea and over the central Pacific, and that trough is getting cut off. It's weaker, so it's getting pulled away. So now your dominant steering, that whatever shear that's being produced is going to be going away.
Yeah.
Rather shortly.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. LT, if you LT, you have any final things you'd like to discuss? Otherwise, we're gonna turn it over. What?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
First of all, Delta pointed out that this thing is going to be an ace machine. I'd say maybe as much as like Bavi, if I had to like make a guess.
Yeah, I remember that was a pretty strong storm for a while.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're just curious, the reason why we're saying this has no shear is very little shear. When it looks like there's a lot. In that red ring in there is the eye wall. That's supposed to have shear.
Yeah.
That's wind.
Yep, we went over that earlier.
Yeah. I was
All right.
just yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's all.
All right, LT. Thank you very much, Trevor. We got everybody else in before you. You've been waiting very patiently. We're gonna switch it around next Triple P show. But Trevor, you're up. What are your thoughts on what we got with Dolphin? And you're on the air. It's all yours for right now.
All right. So my thoughts on this system: Japan Islands, Wake Island. They kind of need to be aware for this system because it is actually kind of posing a threat to them.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ryukyu Islands over here. Yep.
If I'm correct, it's Tuwatsu. If I'm right,
Which one?
Is located out in the I want to say the Pacific area. That island needs to be kind of on a high alert because they are going to be directly hit by it.
That's in the Ryukyu Islands, right?
It's outside of it. It's part of the Mariana Islands area.
Oh yeah, I see. I kind of see it. Yep, I see it. Yep.
Japan Islands, maybe China. I really don't know. I'm gonna have to look at the forecast once we get more down the line. And I think once we start taking that turn, we'll start seeing it maybe shift its path towards Japan. But I really don't know what we're gonna see here.
Yeah.
I am a little bit curious if it will be stronger than 180. I think they're forecasting.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the range of my forecast right now. I'm considering changing. They do it.
Yeah, we're looking at the possibility of multiple eyeball replacement cycles after this one. What's your take on it?
I support that.
All right.
Considering if it's gonna go through one exactly.
Mm-hmm.
What could be on the 31st.
All right. Is there a model that you want to take a look at in general, or do we like?
Have you guys looked at all the models?
We've looked at the halves A and a little bit in the Euro. We haven't seen too much of the half speed. David showed the H Wharf and the H Mon earlier. We might show those again in a second. But which ones do you want to take a look at?
Can we look at the parent models?
Yeah, halves A or halves B. We already did the halves A earlier, but.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're definitely seeing an eyeball replacement cycle. The eye is wobbling a little bit.
All right, David. Thank you very much. Trevor, what would you like to see?
Let's do halves A and then do halves B.
Choose your wiring.
Yep. Thanks, LT. I was. All right, let's do that. We're gonna do the parent. All right. Yeah. Do you just want to look at shear, or do you want to look at the storm? Do you want to look at main sea level?
I'm gonna see what they're forecasting really quickly.
All right. Here's main sea level pressure for you. Yeah, this is what we got for the halves A. Not sure if you can see it, but we're at 144 right now. According to this, it drops by 30 millibars in the span of 3 hours, but this is run by 18Z. I'm kind of not trusting that. By the time we started on the air tonight, it was supposed to be 140 miles an hour. It's obviously still Cat 5. So overall, yeah,
I'm actually kind of surprised. It is. And I've uploaded 5 videos on this system already.
Yeah, that reminds me of my 2021 days right there. Anyway, yeah, it gets back up to 914. The max winds are 124 knots by tomorrow morning, but that would require I think the halves A initialized a bit weaker than we thought it would. Either that or yeah, I know
I think it's weaker.
What's up?
Down to about a violent typhoon stage.
Okay. But yeah, I know it's undergoing its ERC right now, so.
What does halves B say?
Well, let's look at the halves B. Oh man, the halves B is the halves B doesn't have anything?
Oh, damn it.
It doesn't have anything for the parent. What?
Oh, there's no reason to show that.
Yeah. Halves B is not WPAC bound, ladies and gentlemen. The halves A is
Halves B is only East Pacific and Atlantic. It is not for the West Pacific. Only one of the halves models goes out to the West Pacific. The other one always stays in the East Pacific, Central Pacific, and the Atlantic.
Oh, that fucking sucks.
Okay,
Yes, that's one of our curse words tonight.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right.
If you're in the front of this,
What's up?
and gonna include this to the people who got hit by that a 7.1 earthquake that was downgraded to a 6.8.
Yeah.
You have to be aware for this because this is heading what could be directly towards you or away from you, but you could still get the outer bands of this. So
Yeah.
I would be on high alert about this, just in case if it hits you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right, Trevor. Is there anything else you'd like to say? I was just looking at chat right
Nope,
now
I know.
behind the scenes.
Nope, I have nothing else to say about it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. All right. So we have Dolphin over here. Still a very strong system. Seizure warning to those prone to flashing lights. I am showing Dapia again. I've talked about this ad nauseum on the show. I love Dapia, except for the fact that it flashes every time you run it through the first time. Dapia, I love it for its minute-to-minute analysis. We first rolled it out and we first used it on my streams when Barrel happened. Was a real game changer for my channel and a game changer for a lot of people, especially David and Weather Kingdom as well. So, yeah, I'm looking at it. Looking at satellite, guys, I'm not sure if you see this, but you're definitely seeing a couple areas of convection wrapping around the eye right now. Definitely. What are you guys thinking about this eyeball replacement cycle? Let me pause the last frame.
Yes, there is an eyeball replacement cycle because you can tell the cloud tops a little bit are warming,
Mm-hmm.
and the eye is a little more ragged.
Yeah, for sure. I'm noticing that as well. Can we also mention the fact that
I completely agree.
Yeah, can we also mention the fact that we're an hour and a half in the show and I still have some water left. This is usually gone within 15 minutes. So that's how you know tonight's been a good show. So yeah, nice little bit right there. But anyway, yeah, noticing that as well. Yeah, the eye's not as crisp as it was. It's looking a little more ragged. Definitely pinching in a little bit more on the sides. I'm noticing this too. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's pinching in a little bit more. So definitely something interesting, especially over the last few frames. It's pinching in a lot more, particularly in these two areas. Yeah. So, yeah. We'll see what happens by tomorrow morning with this system, but right now, the ERC is underway. So, yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on what we're seeing right now? I know we've talked a little bit about this.
Well, the eyewall replacement cycle is currently ongoing, and you can you can now, it's starting to become much more obvious now.
Yeah.
On satellite with the eye's degrading structure.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too. Anybody else?
I could go.
Go ahead, LT.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking this with a massive grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
I have been looking at experimental microwave, which is like a new microwave setup.
All right.
It's a bit it runs like every 10 minutes.
Oh.
Gives a new frame every 10 minutes, which is good when you're dealing with stuff that you want to wait for the official microwave to load. But it's just I agree. But it seems like on the latest microwave, the latest I should say experimental microwave, it does somewhat look like the outer is trying to outperform the inner.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Do you have any of that microwave imagery you'd like to show?
I posted it in the chat.
Okay. Was it a little
we-
further up? Oh, I see it. Yep. I have an image of it. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing those. Yep.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I know. I would say, take this with a massive grain of salt. This is not the official microwave image. This is only experimental.
All right.
If anyone else wants to comment on this, you guys can.
That's
hop in.
all right. Yeah. That's fine. Who wants to take a stab at it? Okay. All right. I guess I will. Definitely obviously not confirmed, but definitely noticing that inner core is definitely still there. Noticing here too, along the outer eyeball, that's definitely starting to build up now. That banding feature that you're seeing, especially to the north and the west, that's your outer eyeball developing right there, based on what I'm seeing with this imagery. That's typically how this process starts. You start seeing a outer band that kind of pushes out of the storm, start to get stronger and stronger and stronger, and take up more of that warm water below, and ultimately start choking out the inner eyewall once it's fully developed. So I'm definitely noticing that ERC starting to take place just based on this experimental microwave right here, although we cannot confirm it at this time. All right, one person who has not talked in a while, who's been pretty quiet about this, Mr. Ethan WX. You've been listening to our discussion tonight about Dolphin. What are your thoughts on it?
So my thoughts are, it is definitely a very healthy looking storm, but ultimately I do think there are going to be some challenges regarding the absolute ceiling for its intensity that was kind of forecasted earlier. One being the continuous eyewall replacement cycles. Part of the reason why Hurricane Melissa last year became so strong was because it never truly underwent an eyewall replacement cycle, and most of them were really like emergers that ended up really just strengthening the storm. And I don't think we're really seeing this with that. So I think this is gonna stay a very strong system, probably, in the Cat 5 range for, it looks like, until about August 2nd. All right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very strong system for a while, but I do think that over time it is going to be dealing with multiple eyewall replacement cycles, and that is ultimately going to limit its intensity. The JTWC maximum forecast right now is 155 knots, so 180 miles per hour. But down the line, this could become a very serious threat to southern Japan and parts of the Korean Peninsula as well. So I definitely think we should start talking about potential impacts down the line, because this could be a historic storm for them, even if it is starting to lose some of its intensity by that point, as storms usually do as they recurve to the north in East Asia.
All right, Ethan, thank you very much. I had to take care of something while you were talking, so that was perfect timing. So, yeah. All right. Is there anything else we want to go over with Dolphin here, ladies and gentlemen?
I do also want to mention something.
Right.
I don't know if this is just me. It seems like, according to satellite, that is, it's doing phenomenal with its EWRC. You could see if you could zoom into those inner, towards the eye.
Yep.
Oh,
there you go.
You could see on the north and south side, though, you could see it trying to close it, or at least somewhat close it or cloud it. That's what it's doing.
Yeah.
Which is really good. This thing's going quick. And correct me if I'm wrong, it started it 13, 14 hours ago, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong.
What started?
The EWRC eyewall replacement cycle.
Can we confirm or deny that?
Well, 5 more like 5 or 6 hours ago. It was prone this afternoon.
I know. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There you are.
Yeah, give it a second, guys. I know. We lagged for a second. My bad. You guys can hear me now, right?
Yep.
Yes.
It's a good thing I'm recording this stream too, so I'll at least have that up. But anyway, all right, go ahead. What was it? All right. Yeah, I was saying I was noticing that too, Logan. That's what I was saying before that happened.
I see. Mm-hmm. Anyways, me and Delta were taking a look at this. I believe we are just now entering stage 3 of the eyeball replacement cycle. If you pause on the most recent frame for me, please.
Oh, yeah, I'll pause on that real quick.
Yep. Yeah, pause on the most recent frame.
Yep. There we go.
If you look in on the western side,
Mm-hmm.
you see convection on the outer end of the storm firing up. You also see a moat forming on the western side, along with what appears to be the outer eyeball trying to come in and wrap around and constrict that inner eye.
Yeah.
Which is indicative of stage 3 ongoing, which tells me that this is 100% eyeball replacement cycle. There is no doubts now. Any doubts that we had before is just done and over.
Yep.
But yeah, considering what this thing is doing right now and that there's a moat forming, this is very much just entered stage 3 in Delta. If you want to talk about it at all, back me up on this if you want, but I think it has entered stage 3 just now as we started being live about 15-20 minutes ago. I think it started stage 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Logan
I'm
on that
definitely
one.
seeing that. Yep. Let me see
can
if I
see
can get a new
that-
frame. Let me see if I can get a new frame on
that-
this. Go ahead.
Inner eye wall is now no longer fully intact, and you're starting to see
Yep.
gaps in that inner eye wall, which is
Teaser warning, by the
indicative
way.
of your inner eye wall starting to degrade.
Yeah,
and the
not
outer
just
eye
that, but
wall
the
is
eye is
now
also starting to
intensifying.
degrade too. Yep, I see it. Yep, it's a lot more obvious now in the last frame. You're starting to see some of that convection starting to wrap into it. Yeah. Not as firm and not as circular as it was before. I'm seeing it the same thing you guys are.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else do we have?
Yeah, it's just doing phenomenal job of its EWRC. And the thing that I also want to point out is I think what either Logan or Delta said about the EWRC, or David, or the eye hasn't been. This storm was acting really weird. I've never seen an eye wall just full on just collapse that quick. Like that eye wall didn't put up any resistance.
What's up, Trevor? Or did someone else want to go?
That was Ethan's background noise.
Oh, okay. Never mind. All right, cool. Anything else?
But yeah, unless convection just starts firing in the inner, it's not fighting at all. It's just letting it happen, which would make the EWRC very smooth and very quick.
Yeah. Which, if that was the case, that would be a bit of a problem right there.
Yeah. And that was the first one. That's what happened with the first one. It didn't put much of a fight.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, if that's the case, then we might have a situation where another eyeball replacement cycle takes place, maybe knocks it down, but it's overall better organized, and the system just starts ramping up and winding up again. That would not be ideal.
Pat.
What's up, David?
I made a post on X. I don't know if you could show the viewers.
Yes, we can do that.
See what you think. I spent a lot of time on it.
Let me see. It's David Schlotthauer,
You could actually
right?
read it.
It's David Schlotthauer.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Okay. All right.
I talked about the Typhoon, what my thoughts are.
All right. Well,
It's right there.
oh yeah, you put up a pretty big discussion on this. Yeah. Would you like to go? Would you like to read it out, or would you like me to?
I could read it out. Okay, so I'll just read it on my end.
All right,
So
David.
this is what my thoughts are. Okay, so let me go to my community, my X posts. Boy,
Yep.
I've been following on this like a rock. So, man, why can't I get to my X page?
I have it on the.
What the?
Okay,
there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so after a brief bout of rapid intensification this morning and afternoon with Super Typhoon Dolphin in the Western Pacific, latest IR satellite, along to go with recent microwave images, suggests that Dolphin is in the early stages of an eyewall replacement cycle, with a secondary eyewall beginning to encircle the primary eyewall. Latest ADT estimates have dropped quite a bit from earlier and are ranging between 125 to 135 knots, suggesting winds have come down have come down.
All right.
What the? I do not know why it did not autocorrect. Okay, sorry with that. Slight with Dolphin on satellite. I'm estimating winds are at 135 knots or 155 miles an hour. But regardless, that some weakening did occur with Dolphin. Typhoon Dolphin remains an extremely dangerous, catastrophic typhoon. Intensity forecast. Now, regardless of any internal structural changes that are occurring, the overall environment surrounding Dolphin remains quite favorable, with light vertical wind shear, generally 10 to 15 knots, very warm sea surface temperatures of around 29 to 30 Celsius, and a very moist atmosphere will help to maintain a high-end Category 4 to a Category 5 typhoon for the next 4 days. Now, because the eye is getting a little bit on the large side, Dolphin may have a bit of a harder time to re-intensify on the other side of the second eyewall replacement cycle. Because, as you know, the smaller the eye is, the more quicker intensification can actually occur because of conservation of angular momentum.
Yes.
Steering forecast. Right now, Dolphin continues to move towards the west-northwest at around 12 miles per hour as it gets steered primarily by the ridge to the north of the cyclone. However, by days 3 and 4, Dolphin will likely get captured by a newly developed ridge over Japan, helping Dolphin to bend back towards the west. There is a reasonable higher confidence in this forecast evolution from the Google DeepMind ensemble, as well as the European Deterministic and its ensemble forecast suite. Therefore, my latest track forecast has been shifted slightly south and west from the previous one, but is within line of most of the ensemble suite. Now, it is important to note that just because Dolphin goes through future eyewall replacement cycles, we don't know when the next one will occur, and please don't assume just because there's another eyewall replacement cycle, winds have dramatically weakened, as typhoons are known to re-intensify quickly once those cycles complete.
Yes.
So in other words, to summarize this, the wind field expands. The amount of wind kinetic energy expands further out. Okay, so if you were able to take that wind field and compress it or compact it, this typhoon would be the equivalent of say Melissa, 190 miles an hour, 195, or even stronger. But because that wind field is now getting larger because of these eyewall replacement cycles, it's a bit harder for things to recontract before the second one actually
Go ahead, David.
occurs. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right, David, thank you very much for your forecast. Let me actually I actually do have a quick question for you. This is just this latest satellite imagery of Dolphin right here. Definitely interesting. Let me slap a like on that real quickly since you just put that out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I need to edit my post a little bit because of the typos, because of the
Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We read it here live on the show. You're good. You're good. We all know. It's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, is there anything else that we want to go over with Dolphin tonight?
I would also just like to bring up the fact that where Dolphin formed is actually really rare.
Oh?
Like, it started right on, it actually started in the Central Pacific, and then it crossed the international date line into the far eastern West Pacific. So a lot of I put a post in the chat, if you could pull that up.
Yes, I can. Which one is it? It's a bit further up, isn't it? Or
About 9:37 p.m.
ninth?
track plot.
Okay, let's see. It's this one right here. I got it. All right.
Yep. So
Oh, right in the middle of the graveyard.
Yep. So what you're kind of seeing here is all your stuff closer to the west is where a lot more of your normal formation areas, your I would say probably your MDR for the West Pacific is a good way of saying it. Dolphin is kind of in that zone where it's, how can I put this? It's much farther east than most typhoons form or tropical cyclones form, which is also a rarity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely very interesting for sure. It's kind of in this graveyard right here, so of where all the stuff hasn't formed. So we'll have to see how this goes, and we'll have to see how far this system will go. But for those of you tuning in from Okinawa and the Ryukyu Islands, as well as Taiwan and China, you're going to want to watch this over the next few days, because this system is no joke. At least according to Joint Typhoon Warning Center, Category 5 typhoon. According to some of us, we think it's a little bit weaker due to the eyeball replacement cycle. Regardless, still a super typhoon, still very dangerous, especially as it approaches Japan and parts of the mainland Asian coast. So, with that being said, is there anything else we want to go over with Dolphin real quickly before we answer some questions in the chat, as well as kind of go over a little mini topic that someone on Instagram actually requested we go over? What's up?
I just wanted to say, just because it doesn't matter the category, guys, viewers, it matters about how big the storm is, what time the storm could hit, how big the storm surge could be, how big the rain. Basically, the category is just like to set like, hey, this is how strong this storm is. It's not telling you the potential impact. Well, it kind of does. But like, it doesn't really tell you the full impact scale that it could do.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, doesn't matter if it's a category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
If you're gonna get impacted, you gotta prepare. Like at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, LT, thank you very much. All right, so let's go ahead and take some questions from the chat, as well as kind of talk about a little bit of a subtopic that both Trevor and someone on my Instagram, Matthew Long, shout out to him, he's one of our members, brought up to my attention. Trevor, are you there? I know he's muted right now. But
yeah, I was fixing something. What's up?
All right, so Trevor, you were talking a little bit earlier about some stuff going on in the Atlantic. You were looking at some chances about that. Would you like to briefly go over that over the last little bit we're on the show?
Okay, so the European ensembles and models are showing some tropical cyclone developing in the MDR area.
Okay.
And I believe a tropical wave is off there. Logan, can you fact check this, please?
Yeah, do you have I know you posted it earlier. Do you have the thing we can look at in question?
It's actually in chat, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's a bit further up. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Okay, no, that's past that. Oh, here it is. I got it. All right. So let's go ahead and zoom in to the Atlantic. All right. So let's see. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. What
It was
exactly?
for yesterday.
What's up?
It was for yesterday, the 28th of July.
All right. Okay. Was it the 10th through the 17th? Yeah.
Go to the first one.
Okay. All right.
What? Where is it at?
Yeah, let me see. I saw it was a little bit different where you showed it earlier. Okay. Valid time through that. Yeah, I was trying to find. Yeah.
Also,
oh, that's APHIS.
started
That's APHIS. Yeah, that's the APHIS though.
Just
Oh, the AI runs. Yeah, I realized that. Go ahead, David. Sorry.
so I just wanted to make it clear there is a little bit of X activity or tweet activity on social media about the Atlantic potentially waking up.
Mm-hmm.
I need to share my screen
Yeah,
to show.
let's
Otherwise,
take a look at it since we're kind of on our little subtopic here. So,
yeah, because the MJO dude is just not. It's just.
let's take a look.
I mean, it just even someone I have to look for it, but it's on Model Lab.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go to, let's go to this. Wait, let's work it out. There we go. So can I even open this into a new tab? Darn it, I can't. Not like my computer.
Oof. All right.
So let me screenshot this.
Okay.
So right here, okay, so the activity that we're referring to looks to be like in mid-August, like right in here.
Mhm.
First of all, the MJO component is certainly not going to favor any development, and I will even show you more proof to back that up, because right here, this is where we have all that favorable atmosphere, well, favorable conditions. I should even be, oh my gosh, I'm articulating with what Weatherman Plus would say on his videos.
Take your time, David.
But right here, okay, first of all, this is not going to be the core zone of highest activity where that axis is. Instead, it's going to be further west, right in here, where we're going to need to watch for tropical development continuously in the central and eastern Pacific because of where the MJO is. So what does that mean for the Atlantic, you might ask? Well, when we look at the Atlantic side of things, so let me draw that up. So right over here, and primarily, okay, the Atlantic is going to be shut down for business because if you imagine, so if you there's the Hofmolar diagram and there's the Mercator, yeah, it's a Hofmolar and Mercator projection of the map.
Right.
There's a little thumbnail reference down there.
Yep.
You could think of all of this. The centroid of this blue and green is the axis of where there's divergence aloft. So you can think about it here. You get anomalous easterly winds here. Okay, over the western Pacific. Okay, in the upper levels, this is 200 millibar velocity. Okay, and then over here you get westerly, upper level enhanced westerlies over the Atlantic. Okay, here's your sinking that happens here. Here's your rising air here. Okay, the problem with that is, okay, well, it's neutral over the Atlantic, but why are we not getting development? Well, because of all that sinking air. The monsoon over Africa has been so darn suppressed for a while, and even over Indonesia, I mean, they're already complaining about drought conditions. There's just not a whole lot of thunderstorm activity there. So these tropical waves coming off of Africa are not going to be very energetic. And if they do look energetic, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect sometimes. No, I'm just being sarcastic. But these waves coming off of Africa are going to look juicy. They're going to look ominous. They're going to look like, oh my gosh, that's going to develop. Wait until it splashes down on the Atlantic waters. then tell me if it looks very ugly looking and it's going to develop. The background environment tells me that there won't be development. There is not. Now, maybe subtropical development, but I highly doubt it because the Atlantic is going to have a lot of vertical wind shear in this sense. So with that, let's go and look at the MJO forecast.
Yep, let's take a quick look at that. But one thing I wanted to kind of
phase
emphasize
diagram.
too is that I would say this is more of a favorable environment for homegrown storms. I would say that's kind of my opinion, or subtropical for the time being. So that's just kind of my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So now, let's look at the MJO here, and I've said this on my videos too, so a lot of people in this chat or in this live stream understand with what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
So this is the MJO phase diagram, or RMM based, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When the MJO is over here, which it has been for a great majority of this over the last few months because of the El Nino, the atmospheric coupling pattern has really responded to that warming in the central Pacific. So we end up seeing our MJO do this. It's really circumnavigating into phases 8, maybe briefly 1, goes back into phase 5, 6, 7, 8, and it does not go all the way around here into phases 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're not seeing that. Why is that a problem, you might ask, for the Atlantic? Because in general, you want the Atlantic to be in, or the MJO to be generally in phase 1, 2, 3, and maybe even 4. Not over here. These are all X's for the Atlantic side. Okay. Now it actually might even go neutral in both aspects. Sometimes in phase 5, it can favor the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Just like phase 1 can. Mainly the Caribbean and mainly the Gulf in the early stages of that. But usually in phase 2, 3, and 4 are the gold standard when it comes to a lot of activity for that. And you're probably asking, okay, let's go back and look at the velocity. Right now, it's in phase 1. Well, but David, that it's in phase 1, it should be giving us a lot of activity. It doesn't work like that necessarily, all right? It's just there's a delay.
Right.
You can think of that transition line where there's neutral. So bring this up again one last time. So you can think of this right here as your more conducive zone of activity. What does that line up us with? Guess what? 6 and 7. What do we have here? Oops. What do we have here on our MJO forecast? 6, maybe even into 7. Works perfect. That's where the favorable conditions are going to be, primarily in the eastern or the western and central Pacific. Now, right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be in the eastern Pacific until the MJO goes back into phase 7, late 7 into 8. That's what we're looking at. So with what you're showing on your screen, Pat, in the live stream on Discord, there are elevated chances, but that's some noise in the modeling. How do I know that? Well, let's go to weathernerds.org, weathernerds.org. Let's go to the ensembles and let's go to the GDM ensemble and let's look at our next 10 days. What do you see? Nothing.
Okay, that's the Google DeepMind. All right. Yeah,
which has done really good, which has done very good. Let's look at the AI Euro forecast over the 10-day forecast.
Let's see that. Okay.
There is a little bit of a signal. There's going to be noise 10 days out.
Right.
We saw this last year. We saw this the year before. And actually, mainly last year we saw this. And it kept getting pushed back. It's like, wow, we're going to go through most of August without any named storms. You know, that's what this reminds me of. It's going to show development far out in time because some of these ensembles don't realize what MJO environment we're actually in Some of them are all
Right.
spread apart with that. So I look at all of these, and even the Euro ensemble, I mean, it's all noise just everywhere. We can't say that, oh my goodness, there's 2 tracks that show a major hurricane. As I won't call out the YouTuber out there on YouTube,
Fair.
but there's a YouTuber out there that will literally look at one member and be like, oh, there's gonna be a hurricane that's possible, right?
Me.
Let's look at the GEFS ensemble. Yeah, the GEFS ensemble. Very little signal, so that's why I've not made videos on the
Fair.
tropics. Some of
Yeah.
you in this live stream on Pat's
On the show,
Pat's
yeah.
show and on YouTube, you're probably asking me, when are you going to make your next tropical update? There really isn't no point of making one. The signal is very stagnant. The standing wave is going to be anchored across much of this Western and Central Pacific with not much development out here in the Atlantic. And
Yeah.
you can see right here, this is a standing wave. This is exactly El Nino, driven primarily by El Nino,
Right.
which is so strong right now that it's actually dominating. One last thing, Pat. All right, then I'll let you talk here.
That's fine.
I'm sorry, I'm taking up the thunder over here.
That's fine. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so the Hofmolar diagram also shows us a big clue as well. We didn't get the 12Z output from this morning for some reason, but this Hofmolar diagram really gives us a clue where the MJO is. It is not clearly in the Atlantic. We're going to have bouts of easterly wind activity in the lower parts of the atmosphere, which is not conducive for tropical development. Yes, there are tropical waves coming off of Africa, and yes, you can kind of, if you want to be specific, you can track every tropical wave, but I mean, the background environment here, I mean, this is so much dry air. I mean, look how dry it is down there in the deep tropics. I mean, yes, I know it's early August and people will make fun of me like, yeah, Dave, it's early August, wait until September. This is not the year for tropical activity in the Atlantic very much because of El Nino. The vertical wind shear is going to be immense. When we look at the vertical wind shear, yeah, we're looking at through the middle of August, there's a lot of red. Look at all the shear, stronger than average in the Atlantic. Absolutely not conducive at all. And if you want me to go even further, we can look at the CFS model, which does highlight stronger vertical wind shear over Africa from the westerly direction over the Caribbean. The only area that might have an open opportunity, and that would be in very late August. I mean, the last week of August, or even a little later than that, would probably have to be in the subtropical region. Once we get our second season, I call it, we, like the Central American gyre, we get that coming back again. Maybe we get some activity that forms in the Gulf or the subtropics, but at the very least, or at the very most, it's probably going to have to wait until at least early or even mid-September. I would even be surprised if we go with September at seeing only 1 or 2 named storms. That is how unfavorable and hostile the background is in the Atlantic.
All right, David, thank you very much. All right. Well, is there any other thoughts on what we just covered here? Or, like, I'm just going to go ahead and quickly open the floor to everybody. So,
I would like to hear Ethan WX's opinion on what I just covered.
He hasn't talked too much, but I'll let him have the floor. Then I'll let Trevor on since he was the one that brought it up initially. All right, Ethan, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, honestly, my take on it is just to not give too much thought to this because, I mean, like as a lot of people have been saying, El Nino year, there's a lot of things working against any system that tries to develop in the MDR right now that I would really, obviously, if it does keep developing, then it's worth keeping an eye on. But I personally do not expect that it will.
All right.
Just because there's a lot of shear, a lot of dry air, and obviously the TUT also in place that is working against it. I do think that we should definitely be keeping a closer eye on the East Pacific going forward, because I think that is where we are going to start to see a very active season once we head into August and September.
Right. Yeah. All right, Ethan. Thank you, Trevor. What's your opinions on what you just heard tonight?
To be honest, I don't disagree with what Ethan said. It's really going to depend on the season of how we do with the El Nino, the wind shear, and everything.
All right.
I think our main focus is the East Pacific.
For now, yeah. All right. Okay. Is there anything else that you guys? Is there anything else from everybody else, or are we good?
I would just like to say to the audience, whenever you see posts like what we've seen, the Atlantic might be waking up, what you want right now, if it's any further out than 250 hours out, that's what we call model fantasy land in the weather community.
Yes.
Remember what we say, small things could have large implications. That also happens with model runs. So one little spin that just happens to get going 200 plus hours out may try and spin something up, but that's just noise in the data. We need consistency between at least on one model or multiple models if needed, closer to the present time for noise to become signal.
All right, Delta, thank you very much. All right.
I just want to intervene very quickly with what Delta was saying. I do agree with you on that, Delta, with Fantasyland, but I was telling my viewers this on my YouTube channel when discussing the tropics. Or on live streams, there are symptoms. You have to really look at the MJO. Like, you have to figure out, okay, it's in this phase. This is what it gives us over the tropics. There can be, especially during climatology, especially like in earlier mid-September, you can get rogue tropical systems that do develop outside of MJO environments, especially off of Africa. But this year it's going to be extra hard because of what I just discussed, that El Nino. But in general, you want to look at the background environment, then drill down to long-range ensemble forecasting signals, and then kind of go from there. It's like before you get extremely sick and throw up with the flu, you start getting tired, you start to not feel well and stuff.
Yes.
There are symptoms before because that's how I forecast. I mean, it's beyond the scope of an ensemble model forecasting with me. I will look at the state of the atmosphere before I even look at ensemble data.
Yeah. All right, David, thank you very much. All right. What's up?
Also, David, I would just say I 100% agree with you, and that just even shows that there's inconsistency between the background state and what the models are trying to show.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else from you guys? All right, then. Well, then in that case, we're going to go ahead and end it here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Triple P Show. We covered quite a bit tonight, the James Pettus situation, and then we talked about the severe weather and mainly talked about Dolphin and the Atlantic after that. So, pretty eventful night tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end it right here. Thank you for joining the show tonight. If you enjoy it, be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are actually one subscriber away from 15,600. Let's see if any of you lucky people in the chat are going to be that lucky subscriber that subscribes tonight. With that being said, though, be sure to join the Storms United Discord server. The link to that is in the end screen if you want to see some behind-the-scenes cool stuff as well. We also have expanded to Instagram and Twitter as well. So be sure you enjoy the fun and the action on that as well. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're ending it here. Thank you all for joining. Have a wonderful night. Stay safe.